All right, Sydney Brown back again. So let's talk about an anthology, what it is and why. So the anthology is typically a collection of works. It usually has stories, essays, poems, different things like that. It can be in many different formats, and it usually is a compilation from multiple authors, and it's often done as a business where other people actually pay to participate in that anthology. In this video, we're going to talk about, why would you want to participate in an anthology and how it can contribute in your writing journey. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start talking about the top 10 benefits to participating. Number one, plain and simple, the exposure that it brings. Being part of an anthology can actually introduce you to new readers. And by expanding your network, it helps you get that visibility that you may not have access to otherwise. Number two, networking. Now, collaborating with other authors, you gain your visibility, obviously, but it also leads to new valuable connections, because when you're working with this person on this book, this person on this book, they might introduce you to other people that, the future opportunities. There is so much networking and potential that surrounds anthology books. Number three, and this is a really big one, experience. Now, if the first two don't hold value to you, then this one should, because just the experience that you gain by knowing, here's what's expected of you, here's your word count, here's your theme, and you know your parameters, your expectations, and then you do your best writing and fall within that. It's just a really great way to get experience and to get published. So number four, creative challenge. When you write a piece for an anthology, it can kind of push you in, to explore new ideas, new styles, genres, things that are outside of your typical comfort zone. I've done gratitude anthologies. I've done funny anthologies, where I'm not usually telling funny stories, but it was kind of fun to create something that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So it's a good way to stretch yourself. Number five, collaboration. When you work with other authors and you have this shared theme or concept, it creates a team, and you foster a sense of community, and that teamwork really does build relationships. So even if it's for no other reason than you make new friends, it's a great reason to do it. Number six, and this is why a lot of coaches and business owners will do it, is the credibility. That's actually called a credibility piece. So when you have your work published, that's something that no one else, in those circles may have done. That's something that gives you that extra little thing. It's not necessarily, like putting the word doctor after your name, but it gives you credibility as an expert in that realm, because at the very least, you've done additional research and you can write on it. So the credibility really does bolster the perception and your confidence. Number seven, deadlines. You may be like, I don't know if that's a benefit, but when you work with deadlines on anthology projects, it really helps you to stay motivated, to keep pushing forward, to keep your focus on your goal. And when you do that, it obviously you're getting practice writing, but it also kind of builds you as a person overall. So by doing, something with a deadline, you've made an obligation or a commitment, and it's helping you become a better structured person. Number eight, smaller commitment. And this is why a lot of people start with anthologies. When you're writing a short piece, because it's an anthology, you and 20 others or however many are writing this book or this project together. It's less daunting than tackling a whole book, even if it's a short story. Short stories are tough to do alone. And then, a novel, obviously, as your first battle, that's really something that is intimidating and overwhelming for a lot of people. So if you start with the smaller commitments, it really is something that you're like, I can do this. I can totally do this. So if you're a new or just busy writer, then obviously an anthology is a great option. Number 9, feedback. When you're collaborating with other people on a project, like in this, you have other people who can provide constructive criticism or constructive feedback on your work. By listening to them without taking offense, you're able to improve your own growth as a writer. And then number 10, and this is not always the case, but sometimes financial benefits. Now, usually, and not always, obviously, but you may be able to buy copies of the book that you participated in bulk, and then you're able then to sell those paperbacks to, at pop-up books or on your own websites or whatever it is you choose to do. Now, always ask that question before you make that assumption, but typically it is something that you can do. You want to make sure that you ask the questions, how much is this going to retail for? Are we going to be able to sell these ourselves? What price is it going to cost us for our copies? Ask those questions, but those are the top 10. And I really think, and I am a huge fan of anthology projects. So let's move on to the next section, but I think you're going to like doing an anthology.